Welcome to A Guide to Every Deck in Legacy. Today we're looking at Blue-White X Control. Control in Legacy can be built in various ways, including different colors. The most common color combinations are Bant, Jeskai, and 4-color Sans Black, but all versions are nearly always core blue and white. To start with, this is of course a control deck and does what control decks do. Attempts to get ahead on resources with card advantage spells, cantrips like Brainstorm and Ponder, and play various interactive cards like Force of Will, Counterspell, and Swords to Plowshares. Adding more colors of course gives you more options, that is, access to additional cards with unique effects. The downside is that the more you expand the colors, the more vulnerable the mana base becomes to things like Wasteland, Blood Moon, Back to Basics, etc. For example, straight blue-white control with no other colors may be able to run Back to Basics itself, whereas 3 and 4 color versions would be punished by it. More colors also equals more dual lands, which means the deck is more expensive. Basically every version of the deck is going to run at least some of the following cards: Brainstorm, Ponder, Swords to Plowshares, Prismatic Ending, Narset, Force of Will, and some other counterspell, likely Force of Negation or Counterspell itself. Other popular inclusions are Teferi Time Raveler, and Jace the Mind Sculptor, the Wandering Emperor, Monastery Mentor, Icefang Kotal, and Snapcaster Mage. Green grants access to a number of very useful cards, particularly Uro, Life from the Loam, Boseiju, Sylvan Library, Carpet of Flowers, and Veil of Summer. Red is primarily for 2 cards, Expressive Iteration and Pyroblast. Carpet of Flowers and Pyroblast are particularly good in a blue or Delver-heavy metagame. Lists can also play with or without Yorion. All versions point to the same strategy of slowly accruing superior resources and eventually winning through grinding attrition, plucking away the opponent's life total little by little with small creatures like Kotal or Snapcaster, or via one big threat like Uro or Jace's Ultimate. Life from the Loam can mimic the lands deck by recurring Boseiju or Wasteland over and over to grind away the opponent's mana base. Loam's Dredge can also help fuel Uro. In fact, the green cards have solid interconnecting synergies. For example, Uro refills some of the life lost by taking extra cards with Sylvan Library. Carpet of Flowers needs the right matchup, but when it's good, it can't be overstated just how amazing it is. It can single-handedly eliminate Wasteland as a threat and greatly overpowers the opponent's mana production. Narset is great on her own, replacing herself twice over and screwing up the opponent's card draw, but she can also be teamed up with wheel effects like Echo of Aeons or Days Undoing to be a 2-card win con. Cephalid Colosseum is another good synergistic card for Narset, forcing an opponent to discard 3, and can be recurred by Life from the Loam to lock them out of the rest of the game. Blue X Control is pretty good about keeping creature threats off the board, and so grindy value cards like Monarch granting permanents are particularly good. Blue-White X Control lists are highly customizable and, especially given the different color variations, can potentially play any combination of good stuff cards in their colors. I could talk all day about every possible card that could be included, so I've narrowed it down to the ones I consider the best and most prevalent. The large variety of course also means that the sideboard is highly customizable. You can play whatever the best options are in up to 4 different colors and tailor it to the metagame. The usual guidelines apply, include artifact hate, graveyard hate, general purpose answers, counterspells, value cards, etc. So what is the deck weak to? Well, by its nature as a control deck, it's slow to win, meaning you can get under it through speedy threats or fast combos. Its answers can be inconsistent, especially before sideboarding and especially in 80-card Yorion versions. It can also hypothetically be outvalued by a more go-over-the-top deck. In practice, this usually just means a mirror match where the opponent drew better or their cards lined up better. Also, versions with greedier mana bases are susceptible to Wasteland and other land hate. There are so many versions of the deck with so many different cards that it's hard to say, but in general, you can apply the broad principles of control decks, their strengths and weaknesses, and their good and bad matchups. I hope you've enjoyed this look at Blue-White X Control. I want to thank my fellow players in the Magic community for whom sharing their experiences helps make these guides possible. You can find additional resources, such as an up-to-date deck list, in the description. If you think I left out anything important or got something wrong, please leave your thoughts in the comments, and stay tuned to see what deck we look at next time.